Inside Out 2 is the long-awaited sequel to Inside Out 1. Honestly, I was surprised that Inside Out 1 came out like 9 years ago. I thought it was more recent than that. But I guess, the decade since we had the last one. Yet Riley seems to have only aged like a year or two. Go figure. This is a movie about going through puberty, growing up, developing more complicated emotions, and the big thing on this movie is that anxiety is one of the new characters, and anxiety is actually kind of the antagonist of the film because Riley has learned that she's going to a different high school than her best friends, but she's also going to a hockey camp, and like the hockey camp is basically where the coach decides who gets to be on like the varsity team. She's thinking, oh, well, I'm going to a place where my best friends aren't going to be there. I have to make sure I got a new friend group. But as a result of that, she's also kind of neglecting her friends that are there with her at the camp. And anxiety is basically, she comes in to be like, look, I am here to look for all of the threats to Riley and make contingency plans for them and work toward Riley's future. But as a result of that, anxiety like takes complete control and doesn't like that Joy is, because Joy's always been the one trying to run the show with Riley. And the film does kind of talk about how, Joy has also been engaging in toxic behaviors as well. Joy definitely is like somebody who engages in like toxic positivity. And while anxiety is the antagonist, I would not call anxiety a villain, nor would I say that the film says that anxiety is a bad thing. It's just an emotion that you have to be aware of. It can do good or bad things for you. Just keep it in check. And actually, this film has a depiction of an anxiety attack that I thought was very interesting. Riley's in a penalty box because she's trying really hard in like the last game, but she ends up fouling one of her friends. And as she's in the penalty box, she's, starts going through a panic attack because she's like, I've betrayed my friends all for, a chance to be on a team. And I've like, basically been changing who I am completely. And while she's doing this, anxiety is at the controls and she's moving faster and faster around the controls and like zipping around like the Flash to the point where there's like a cartoon cloud around the console. And when Joy goes up to the console, sees anxiety frozen at the console, but she tries to touch her and her hand goes through because anxiety is actually still moving that fast, but still looks frozen in fear. And it was a really cool depiction of, your mind is moving at 1,000 miles an hour, thinking of every single possible thing that could ever go wrong, and it's just causing you to become frozen in fear. The Last Wish has been out for a couple years now, and I have to imagine that they were like, oh, people praise DreamWorks for having a good depiction of a panic attack, so we're the movie about emotions, so we definitely need to try and one-up that one. And I don't know, I thought it was good. The movie does do some of the jokes about, just going through somebody's mind, like they try to ride the stream of consciousness to get to the back of Riley's mind where Joy has been shoving all of the memories that are things that she'd rather not think about. And then there's like when Riley is sarcastic to somebody, there is a sarcasm that opens up in her mind, and any dialogue spoken across the sarcasm gets turned sarcastic. There's also a bit where they become suppressed emotions and they're literally put into a bottle and thrown into a vault of like Riley's secrets. And in the vault of Riley's secrets is Riley's secret crush on a video game character who is obviously Cloud Strife, but is legally distinct from Cloud Strife, even though it looks exactly like Cloud. And not only is he a low poly model because he's a video game character, but he's also rendered at a lower resolution than everything else. So he appears low poly and pixelated in the film. And I thought that was a cute touch. I like the designs of all of the new emotions, especially embarrassment. Embarrassment is a very big guy who has a hoodie that he basically always has covered over his face. Envy is this little tiny girl who she can barely even reach the console. She has to like climb up to use it. We've got Ennui, who is just constantly lounging on a chair with her head just like tilted to one side because she is the boredom, and she doesn't even like go up to the console to do things. She just literally uses her phone to remote app control it. There's also a joke character of Nostalgia who looks like an old grandmother, and she keeps like coming in and they're telling her, no, go back, we're not supposed to have this emotion yet, come back in like 20 or 30 years. And like I think Nostalgia shows up like 2 or 3 times, and every time the joke is just like, no, Riley's too young to have nostalgia, go away. But as far as the whole aspect of Pixar moving from having unique takes and creative stories to just going back to the well of sequels and sequels and sequels, that is a problem. But if you're going to make a sequel to Inside Out, I thought having it be around puberty and especially depicting anxiety and having that as a vessel for looking at, you know, a kid going through puberty and trying to reinvent themselves, I thought that was an interesting take. And I think there's significant value to these films in getting kids to understand certain like aspects of how their emotions work and open up a dialogue about it. I definitely think it is more healthy to be able to talk openly about your emotional state and your mental health than to keep it bottled up. Yeah, I liked this one. Lady Kalgana says, isn't bored a state of being, not an emotion? What would you define like as a solid distinction between them? Because like something can bore you just like something can make you angry. I would say boredom is an emotion, although they called her ennui, and she has a French accent, so you know it's a little bit more fancy than that. But anyway, yeah, I like this one. Hey, thanks for watching. Your view means a lot. Don't forget to toss me a like and subscribe and ring the bell and drop a comment below telling me what you thought of the video. I stream Mondays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific, so catch me live and join in on the convo. You can find all my socials in the description below, and thank you to all my patrons with a very special shout out to my Whale Shark tier patrons Ms. Milena and Hella Vitrum, and my Anemone Friend tier patrons Piftle Cakes and Geek Filter. Your support means the world. Catch you next time.